Hello, my intrepid band of OSATers, my merry bunch of knitters, and welcome to this, the latest episode of the Sockmatician podcast. My name is Nathan Taylor, also known as Sockmatician on Ravelry, Instagram, Twitter, and right here on YouTube. How are you? I've got so much to tell you. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I absolutely haven't taken any notes or planned anything today, but there's so much to tell you. I've been a busy boy. Look, I'm gabbling. I can't wait to get so much information out to talk to you. I've been a very, very busy chap. I've been all over the place. It's been a couple of weeks since my last podcast record, and the reason for that is I've not been at home a great deal. Let's get straight on with the roundup. So I left my house a couple of weeks ago to go up to Northumbria, which is in the north of England, just underneath Scotland, right near where Hadrian's Wall is, if that puts it on the map, kind of in the centre of England, from between the two coasts. And it was my annual camping holiday. I still call it my camping holiday, even though we never camp. There's a big gang of us that goes every year. It's a group of Ben's university friends and their spouses and children, and we were 15 in total, 9 adults and 6 children, ranging from 10 down to 18 months old. And every year we go on holiday together, and it's always a really, really good laugh. The one fantastic thing about this holiday is we've been doing it as a group for pretty much as long as any of the children have been alive. And that means that they've got a real tradition, a real heritage of doing that, and we're pretty much the same group of people every year. So what it means is that we all kind of dip in with and co-parent all the children. Somebody will be looking after one of them while someone's looking after another. They're rarely with their own parents or siblings, and it's just so charming that we all get on so well and we have such a close bond with all of them. There's William and his sister Jeannie. William is Ben's godson. There is, and they belong to Rayleigh and Ian, 2 university friends of Ben's. There's Jago, who belongs to Hilary, another university friend. And there's Thomas and Lily and now baby Ivy, who belong to Tanya, a friend of Ben's from university, and her husband Paul. We also are joined by Meriel and Sam, who's the gentleman who started me knitting. Now Sam is this is an awful thing to say. I was going to say Sam's the odd one out. What I mean by that is Sam doesn't know Ben and the others from university. Sam knows Ben since before university. So actually all the others are the odd one out. He's the original and they're the interlopers, it would appear. We all get on extremely well. We go off and do many, many things. But before I even got there, this is so exciting. Most of you will probably know this already from if you follow me on Instagram or if you follow Dan and Kay. Driving up the A1, I actually live on the A1. The traffic noise you can hear outside that window is always the noise of the A1. But the A1 goes all the way up to Edinburgh, and it passes Darlington in the north of England, and we were passing Darlington as we went. Now Darlington is where Dan and Kay live. I've never met Dan and Kay in the flesh up until this point. We've spent a lot of time chatting to each other via our podcast, but also personally via FaceTime. We did the Knit or Forfeit, a couple of rounds there for Dan and Kay's podcast. This is the Bakery Bears, of course, for anyone who doesn't understand who Dan and Kay are. I'm sure you do. Hello Dan, hello Kay. They live just off the A1, and we popped in on the way. There was 3 of us. There was me and Sam and Ben all travelling up together, and it was so exciting to see them in the flesh. It really was. I feel like I've known them for ages, even though we haven't really at all. Only over the last year or so got to know each other virtually, and to be able to do it in real life was just lovely. They've got a very, very lovely house, and Kay had made the most amazing cakes. Now, anyone who knows me personally outside my knitting world knows that I have a criminally sweet tooth, and I just... Oh, she made some brownies and some vanilla cupcakes, and Oh, something else. Oh, I can't remember. It was delicious. There were 3 varieties of cake, and all of them were just heavenly. So we gorged ourselves silly. Dan and I filmed a little bit for their patrons podcast, another episode of his Double Knitting Diaries, because those of you who remember the Knit or Forfeit episode that I took part in, my forfeit to Dan, even though we drew, so we both did each other's forfeits, my forfeit to Dan was challenge him to learn double knitting, and he's getting on so well with it. He's doing a brilliant job of knitting my vanishing point hat pattern, and he'd gone a little bit too far before starting the decrease. He's just sort of sailed on, carried on knitting round, and was a bit unsure of how to take it back. So basically I just pulled it off the needles and started ripping out his hat. Kay's face was in her hands at one point, but she got very, very adept at putting the stitches back on the needle in the right order. Dan was like, no, Kay can do that. And it was done in no time, and they were ready to start the decreases. Well, Dan was ready to start the decreases, which he's done all by himself. So it was lovely to get a chance to be able to be there in person and help fix that. And it felt so surreal, because I was sitting in Dan and Kay's kitchen. Behind me was the iconic bookcase that they film in front of, and I was right there in Bakery Bear's world. It was insane. I did get given a rather special gift by Kay, which I'm not going to talk about now because it's going into the stash enhancement part of this episode. Woo-hoo. It was so lovely to see them. I suspect it won't be the last time we'll meet up. We enjoyed each other's company immensely. We all got on really, really well. And Dan and Kay, thank you for welcoming us into your home. Thank you for the cookies and the cakes. And thank you for the good times. I'll see you very soon. We then went on up into Northumberland, and we did all sorts of things. We went to Sycamore Gap, which is quite a hike. Sycamore Gap, for those of you who may not know, is famous from the Robin Sherwood Prince of Thieves Kevin Costner film. The hill goes like that, and in the middle here there's this one sycamore tree growing up. It's quite amazing. It's right on Hadrian's Wall, and the landscape there is so barren and fantastically rugged. It's a very, very beautiful spot. We also went to Vindolanda, and Vindolanda is an amazing Roman fort, or the remains thereof, with an incredible museum. That's the word. Tired. Museum, and it's got just the most extraordinary array of things in it. I was fascinated by a lot of the shoes that had been discovered, Roman shoes, 2,000 years old, and the leatherwork was so exquisite. There was one shoe which was a lady's shoe, and it looked for all the world like the kind of thing that you could buy in the shops today. It even had just on the sort of on the foot inside where your heel rests, it even had a leather stamp of the maker's name. That's exactly what people do now, 2,000 years later. It was mind-blowing, and there were all kinds of bits of jewellery, incredibly beautifully worked bits of jewellery and beading and enamelling. I genuinely had no idea that Romans had quite such a level of sophistication. I mean, I think of them as tunics and leathers and swords and sort of great big stone pillars and things, but actually the delicacy and the exquisite nature of their workmanship in so many aspects of life was extraordinary. There were pens, like styluses for writing with ink. It was just amazing, absolutely amazing. A real eye-opener for me. I'm just going to whip through my holiday up in Northumberland because there is so much that I want to get on and talk about. I was... what else did we do? Oh, we went on a bat walk, which was really nice. We were staying in a youth hostel. We'd taken an exclusive hire of the youth hostel, and we had the whole place to ourselves. With no staff there or anything. We'd basically taken it over. It was huge. It had a fantastic, huge dining area, a big kitchen with 2 stoves, and we found out that works really well when there's 15 people. What we tend to do is each sort of family group will cook for everybody on one night, and there's usually enough groups to make it so that you only have to cook once, which is brilliant because everyone pitches in and helps with chopping if necessary, and then certainly with washing up. But if you only have to cook one meal and you get fed for the rest of the week, that's amazing. And it can be something very, very simple. Ben and I just did a very simple pasta dish with cheese and olive oil and butter, and we did some halloumi and fried mushrooms and things to go with it, which was really, really tasty and so basic and simple and easy to do for that many people. There was bangers and mash one night. There were sort of tortilla things with fried that you could put together, nice tortilla wraps, all sorts of different things. I had a lovely time. However, we're in the middle of absolutely nowhere in this youth hostel. It's called Nine Banks Youth Hostel. So if anyone wants to look it up, it's Nine Banks, which is one word, youth hostel in Northumberland, and it was really, really very reasonably priced. I think each of the 9 adults paid, I think, about £180. We were there for a week. Well, they were there for a week, I was not, about which more in a moment. And it is genuinely in the middle of nowhere. There is a village called Nine Banks, which is about 1.5 miles away, and this is just a dirt track. And it's a dark sky area as well, because it's right in the middle of the countryside and there's no major town, so there's no light pollution, and the stars are quite fantastic. We went outside and I was wrapped up in my lovely Genesis shawl, which I always take away with me because it's just wonderful to snuggle into, and because I'm not going to lie, it may be summer, but it was a little bit nippy up there. It was a little bit cold. But while we were out gazing at the stars, we turned into a bat walk, so I had no idea there's so many bats there. And I took some video footage of the bats going around. I'm going to try and dig it out and put it up here, but I
Oh, really close.
it's basically a little flash of bat going along.
Yeah, he's gone. He'll come.
Over
yeah.
over our heads,
Hello.
circling. There he is. He's
No.
doing another round.
Can't find him.
He's there.
You got him?
Not yet.
They fly in such an unpredictable way.
Hello.
It's like a golden snitch. That's what it's like.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it's exactly what it's
There,
like.
Just like there. a golden
Got
Yeah,
him.
two.
Yeah, got him.
There's
Two. Oh God, we're getting so excited. It's very cool.
Through your window one day.
Look. They're just like golden snitches, aren't they?
Hello. Oh, I
Aren't they
like
gorgeous?
him. He's fun.
It's a
I'm gonna
hare.
call him.
Twinkle, twinkle, little bat.
How I wonder
what
you're at. Up above the world so high, like a tea tray in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little bat. How I wonder what you're at.
I love them. I love bats. Jeannie, who is 5, 6, 5, I think she's 5. She has a very dark taste when it comes to the animals. She loves spiders and she loves bugs and she loves bats. She has a little cuddly bat called Bruce that she takes everywhere with her. She has quite a macabre sensitivity to her, and I love it. She's so unusual. But she really, really liked the fact that we had bats all around. Some of the girls, as in the adult girls, not so much, I think. I like bats. I also like spiders, as people who follow my Instagram feed closely will know from a few months ago. An enormous spider ran across one of my shawls just as I was about to photograph it, and I got the picture. It's a huge, great thing. I love it. What else did we do? Golly, it's... we went for lovely wild swims. That now, gosh, in the north of England, even in the summer, the pools and the rivers in which you can do a nice wild swim, they're not warm. And everyone else had their wetsuits. I don't own a wetsuit, so I went in just in my swimming trunks. Oh gosh, it was cold. I couldn't stay in for more than about 10 minutes. They were all okay, and I've swum in cold water before, but this was really, really icy. It got to the stage where, while I was... Usually, when you're in cold water and you're having a swim, the the first shock is horrendous, and then you get used to it, and you feel sort of your body takes over with its own heat generation systems, and you feel that you've really acclimatized to it. I didn't get to that point. I just couldn't. My skin felt like it was like nettle rash all over my body after a little while, and it was getting worse. So thinking, do you know what? I'm going to get out. So I did. But I enjoyed the swim. I had a nice time, but it was freezing cold. And we did all sorts of other things. Now, all the way through this, I knew that I was going to have to be leaving the holiday early because I had my cruise to go on, singing with a company called the Masters of the House, who I've never sung with before. In fact, I'd never met them before, so it was going to be a little bit of a crazy time, but I didn't know when I needed to cut short my holiday. There were all sorts of problems with the cruise line itself. Not major issues, but they weren't able to confirm dates for when I would be travelling out to meet the ship. Now, I knew it was going to be somewhere in northeast Europe, but I didn't know exactly where, and I didn't know exactly when. And it was getting later and later and later, and I kept sending emails to the company, and they kept saying, well, I'm sorry, you're going to have to be patient because there's some trouble on the ship with some other shows not being ready, or I think it's illness and someone had to be taken off the ship, so they were having to juggle things around, so they weren't sure exactly when they were going to slot us in. So I just had to bite the bullet, and I thought, well, I'm going to err on the side of caution, and I booked a train for Thursday. So we went up on the Sunday and I came back on the Thursday. We'd booked a day in Durham, so it was just lovely. Durham is a very, very beautiful city. I'd never spent any time there before, but there was a wool shop there. It's called the Woolly Workshop, and it's run by a very, very lovely lady called Alison. I don't know if you watch Alison, but hello. And we got chatting, and she holds fantastic courses up there. It's a really, really nice workshop. Now, interestingly, Alison had said to me that when she started, she'd only been there about 2 years ago, when she started she wanted to make sure that the shop was filled with really beautiful artisan yarns. She's a spinner and a dyer herself, so there's lots of her hands spun around. She wanted really, really beautiful boutique stuff. But she soon realised that there just wasn't the market for it. I live in London, which is a bit of a bubble, I think, when it comes to knitting, and a lot of places provincially around the UK, there's a massive tradition of knitting, not necessarily having reached the younger generation so much yet, and older ladies, I'm generalising of course, but it does seem to be the case, older ladies wanting to stick to things that they know, and perhaps in areas that don't have a great deal of spare money, they want to go for something cheap, and acrylic seems to be the order of the day. Now, there's nothing wrong with acrylic. If you're knitting a lot of baby clothes, not a baby blankets, ain't nothing better. You stick it straight in the wash, it's all fine. But Alison wanted to bring a newer style of equipment to people, and it wasn't really working. So she has had to start selling some of the things that she promised that she wouldn't at the beginning, just to make ends meet. Well, of course, who wouldn't? It's a business is a business. It's not a charity. And she has to pay the rent and eat food. So her plan is over time is to introduce people slowly, little by little. And I think this is a great idea to better quality yarns and to show people the beauty of hand-dyed stuff and indie dyers. And I think she's doing really, really well. What was brilliant was I asked her if she had many male knitters that came into the shop. Durham's quite a long way from London, and I wasn't sure how to judge quite how cosmopolitan it may or may not have been. And she said, we do have a few. She said, I've got a knitting group, and there is one chap who comes. She said, a young chap. She said, he's a theoretical physics PhD student. And Ben's ears pricked up. And he went, Matthew? I said, yes. It turns out that Matthew Ripley is a very good friend of mine and Ben's, because he was in the original cast of Brass with the NYMT 2 years ago. So Ben, it turns out that he'd also knitted a spider that was hanging in the shop as part of the decorations there. She said, that's one of Matthew's. I was like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. So Ben immediately got on the phone and said, we're in the Woolly Workshop. And Matt said, I live 3 minutes away. And he was there in seconds. I just hadn't put two and two together. I knew somewhere in the back of my head he came from Durham, but I hadn't really put two and two together and didn't expect to see him. It was really, really lovely. So he came into the shop and we had a nice time chatting. And I did buy some nice things, which again will be in stash enhancement. There is a chance that I might be going back up to Durham to meet up with Alison and do some double knitting classes at some point. So I'm going to get in touch with her and see if we can make that happen. So watch this space. Oh, it was just so lovely. Really, really lovely to see Matthew and to see Alison's lovely shop. I really, really enjoyed it. And then it was time for me to go. Woo-hoo! It was really sad. I didn't like leaving Ben up there. Normally we don't always stay for the whole week anyway, but we leave together. I felt really awful leaving him, particularly as by this point I had got my travel itinerary and I wasn't actually going to be flying anywhere until the Saturday morning. So by the time I got home, it was about 9 o'clock on Thursday. I had all day Friday, which was actually just as well because my flight the next day was at about 6:40 and I had to be at Heathrow about 4:30. So that bit wasn't much fun. Well, I got home, I did my packing, I then went to sleep as early as I possibly could on the Friday night, knowing I had to get up at 5 o'clock. And I've put together a little video montage of clips of my time away in Riga, which was where I flew to, which is of course the capital city of Latvia. And here it is. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. My alarm has just gone off, and it's time to begin my Latvian adventure. Come with me.
I can't believe it. It's 4:45, but it's not even beginning to get light. What do I expect? It's 4:45. I don't know why I'm even bothered. Look, there's some light. I'm just walking up the alleyway now. Hopefully, at the end of this road, I'll see my taxi waiting to take me to the airport.
Made it in good time to Terminal 4 at Heathrow behind me. You can just about see the sky is starting to get light, which makes me feel a little bit more on safer ground. I don't like it when it's night time when I have to get up. It feels very, very alien. I'm excited.
Interestingly, at 4:30, 2 hours before my flight is due to leave, there's nobody on the air front desks. I guess we'll just have to wait.
Right, things are not going quite as well as we'd hoped. We've arrived in Riga after connecting with a flight from Paris, and Karen and Jez's bags haven't made it. And apparently the next flight from Paris arrives at 10 o'clock tomorrow night, by which time we'll be somewhere in the Baltic Sea. There's the empty carousel. So Jez has no costume with him, no clothes. Karen thankfully has her frock in her hand luggage, but still, we're away for 4 days. Thankfully mine has arrived, and so has Jane's, but oh my god, I feel for them. This is the Hotel Astor, which is where I'm staying with the gang tonight before we join the ship tomorrow. I have to say, on first view, Riga it just appears to be a really vibrant, bustling, attractive and lovely city. Everyone we've met so far in shops, in restaurants, in bars has been incredibly friendly and helpful, and they've really, really gone out of their way. People are enjoying speaking English. People seem to love the fact that we're from London. A lot of people have said that it's a real ambition of theirs to come and visit, and
It's just lovely. The atmosphere here is really, really beautiful. Behind me is the old town. I'm right on the edge of it here. Our hotel is right on the edge of the old town there, and there's beautiful churches and cathedrals all over the place. It's actually really nice. We're only here overnight. Tomorrow we get on the ship and we set sail for Lithuania. So I'm really pleased that I've had the opportunity to be here and to visit this magical place. Just opposite the front of our hotel is this absolutely beautiful park. I'm literally 30 seconds away from where I shot that last clip. See the beautiful flower borders, fountain over there in the background. Walking over here, there's this little, it's not a river, I think it's like a long lake, a bit like the Serpentine in London. We've got this wonderful statue up there leading down to a really ornate little bridge, which you can probably just see there in the centre of the screen. It's just charming and delightful on every level. I'm now standing on that bridge that I just mentioned. I didn't realise, but it's absolutely covered. All the railings are covered in padlocks. It's I've seen something like this in Paris around Montmartre. There's this you add a padlock with someone's name on it, or for someone that you care about and want to remember. And this bridge could not have any more padlocks on it if it tried. Beautiful. This very imposing statue behind me obviously signifies something incredibly important. It's really, really tall. And at the top of it is a lady holding 3 stars. Everywhere I go, the attitude is one of friendliness, politeness and helpfulness. I was just standing taking a photograph of that wonderful statue, and a girl walking past saw that I was clearly a tourist taking a picture and asked in perfect English if I would like her to take a picture with me in it. It was just so kind. I declined because I didn't actually want one, but it was so lovely of her to ask. She wasn't going to run off with my phone like so many probably would in London either. One of the most surprising things I've seen on my journey tonight are these toilets behind me. These public toilets open. You wouldn't get that in London. When I went in to use it, because I did get caught short, I'm now being caught in a rainstorm, so I'm just going to shelter under these trees until it passes. The end of my first day in Riga. We leave tomorrow, as I've said, but I've had an amazing time. It's been a really eventful time, obviously starting with 2 hideously early flights and then the loss of Jeremy and Karen's bags. They've been brilliant about it. I think I might have had a bit of a tantrum, but they've been very, very laid back about it. They're not going to get their clothes at all on this trip. The next flight from Paris, which is where their bags ended up, is not until 10 o'clock tomorrow evening, which is going to be about 6 hours after our ship has sailed, so they're going to have to make do without. We went off into the town and they bought some clothes just to get them through, and they can borrow some things from me and from Jane, so we've thankfully got our bags. Really not good. However, we've had a lovely dinner. We found this fantastic restaurant called The Good Father, a little pizza restaurant where the food was delicious and the staff were friendly and helpful and polite and lovely. We then went back to Jane's room and did a little, Karen's room, and did a little rehearsal of all the music for the show, and it went well, I think. We're just literally just sitting on her bed, singing through stuff to some recordings we have, so it's not exactly we've had any real rehearsal. I think we have 2 hours tomorrow on the ship where we have the band. We've never met the band, they've never played our music, so it's going to be quite flying by the seat of our pants. And other than that, it's now 11:30 Riga time, Latvian time, which is 2 hours ahead of the UK, so it's 9:30 there. I've been up for 18 hours now, so it's quite a long day. I'm going to go to sleep because we've got our gigs tomorrow. We thought they were later in the trip, but it's actually tomorrow, which is the first day we get on board the ship, so it's a little bit of a surprise. But do you know what? it means we don't have much rehearsal time, but it does mean that we get it over and done with. Not that I want to get it out of the way or anything, but once it's done, we can just relax and we can enjoy the trip round the horn, or the hump of Latvia into Lithuania, to Klaipeda, which is where we're spending another shore leave day, and then we'll do a sea day travelling to Warnemünde, I think it's called, in Germany, where we'll get the train into Berlin and fly home from there. And so for the next couple of days after tomorrow, we can just live the life of passengers and just really enjoy being on the ship and being with each other. I have to say, I knew Karen from before, but Jez and Jane, who are the other people who are in the group with us, only 4 of us, are really lovely. We've all got on really well. You'd think we'd all been best friends for years. So good night. I will let you know more about what's going on when we get to the ship tomorrow.
Just in case you were wondering if you might be anywhere near a wool shop, the signpost behind me has been yarn bombed. Of course it's Sunday. That hadn't really occurred to me, and Hobby Wool doesn't open until 11 o'clock on a Sunday, so at the moment I'm sitting on a very nice bench outside the shop. It's 10 o'clock. I may go off and explore a little bit at the moment, but I may be meeting somebody. I don't know if she's around. If she is, I'll stay here. If not, I'll disappear for a bit and come back when the shop is open.
In the winter, it's very cozy when it's
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
snowing outside.
Yeah, well, we have our passport. We're just approaching the ship at the moment, through some kind of storage dockyard. And there she is, the Serenade of the Seas. How exciting.
Say serenade.
This is dockside at the Serenade of the Sea. It's like a floating city, unlike anything I've ever seen. And this is where we're going to embark. How exciting. Oh my god, this is just so brilliant. I've checked in. This is my little cabin. Welcome. It's quite bijou, but it's very, very nice. I've got a double bed there. I have a porthole, which is nice, although I believe I'm on the starboard side. So is it still a porthole? I don't know. But it's really nice. Let me give you a little guided tour. I've got, there's nothing over there to show you. I've got the bed here. Here's my little lounge area, so you can see a little coffee table, bolted down I believe, and a nice little sofa to lounge about on. And then over here is my office space. So I've got a television there, and then round here is my little desk and chair. And you can see that? Yep, there we go. And it's all very, very charming. Very, very nice indeed. I'm on the 2nd floor, so I'm quite low down in the ship. I believe the engines are going to be quite noisy, so I'm going to have to get some earplugs, I think. I really don't know what to expect. The staff have been absolutely lovely. Jez has been told that the tailor on board is going to give him a complimentary tuxedo rather than hiring one, so that he doesn't have to worry about what he's wearing in the show tonight. Obviously his own tux is in Paris, and it's really, really very nice. I keep saying this. I'm sure everyone's going to be, when I put this together, I'm sure it's going to be like, everything's lovely, it's really nice, but genuinely, it's brilliant. I'm having the best time. Okay, well this is quite unsettling. This is the view from my bathroom where I am currently sitting on the toilet. Panic not. I'm not using it. I'm just showing you the view. And directly in front of me, there's a mirror there. There's also a mirror there. And, well, I find that a little bit unsettling, wouldn't you? There's no way to escape it. There's actually also another mirror there. So everywhere I turn, there I am. There I am. Maybe I'll use it This is the centrum of the Serenade of the Seas. It's the big central atrium where everything happens. I'll take you up to the top. An area where they do aerial acts against this wall here. And then further down, slightly vertiginously, all the way down to another performance space at the bottom. It's very camp. I didn't expect the cruise ship to be quite so camp. Over the top much. If you ask me, this is everything that's terrible about life on a cruise ship. A massive, massive casino. It's just slot machine after slot machine. It's garish, it's gaudy. Slot machine after slot machine after slot machine. Do these people not realise they're just giving the cruise line their own money? I don't like it. This is my first view of the theatre, the tropical theatre aboard the Serenade of the Seas, where we'll be performing tonight. It's very nice. I'm just walking around the blunt end of the ship. I know that's not what it's called. There's the Isabel from Tallinn, I believe. I'd imagine, that's what it says on it. We've just finished our rehearsals, and our boat, the Serenade of the Seas, is just getting ready to set sail. This is very exciting. I've never done anything like this before. The rehearsal went well. The band are amazing. They sound fantastic. It's a 9-piece band. We got through some little tempo things we needed to tidy up where we didn't really understand the things that they were doing, and they needed to know what we were doing. And I think it's going to go really, really well. It's a tiring show. There's a lot of singing to do, but I'm really, really looking forward to it. It's now about 5 to 6, and our show starts at 7, so I haven't got very long. Hopefully, time for us to push off, for me to enjoy setting sail, and then I'll go and get ready. This is it. This is the moment we set sail. Pushing away from the land. It's quite an eerie feeling. Yeah, we're definitely moving. The shadows are passing me by. Hard for you to see very much, I'm sure, at the moment, but if I stand and watch this way, I promise you I'm not moving the phone. There it is, gliding by. Bye-bye, Latvia. Uzredzēšanos. No, that's the wrong pronunciation. Uzredzēšanos. Bye-bye, Latvia. I've had a wonderful, wonderful time in Riga. So I've only been here for 30 hours or so, but I've loved every second of it. Let's see what happens in Lithuania. I'm standing right at the pointy bit. I know it's a prow, don't worry. I'm standing right at the prow of the ship just as we're pulling away from Riga. The sun is shining. The ship is undulating gently as we pass down the river towards the open sea, as you can see behind me here. And I suddenly became completely and utterly infused with a real sense of aren't I lucky? Don't I have the best job in the world? A job that would bring me to a place like this, on this amazing ship, with some wonderful people, and I get a chance to sing, and I get a chance to experience this, living the life of someone with much more money than I actually have, perhaps. I don't know how much these things cost, but I'm sure they're not cheap. And I get to do amazing things and go to amazing places with amazing people. People, places and things. What could be better than that? I'm a very lucky man indeed. And then it was over. Wow. Whew, literally just got off stage, had a chance to get out of my tux and my bow tie, and I can breathe again. My collar was a little bit tight. My trousers have got even tighter. I'm a little bit concerned about that. Back in my cabin now, and that was a real whirlwind. We've just done 2 performances, and they went down a storm. The second show, even better than the first, which was already brilliant. The second show was really packed. I think there must be about 900 people in the auditorium. It was lovely, lovely reception. The songs went really well. You'd have thought we'd been singing together for years. It helps. The 4 of us get on really, really well. And we've just walked back from the theatre, which is at the back end of the ship, aft, and my
No, that's wrong. I'm tired. My cabin is aft. The theatre's at the front, and several people stopped us on the way. I was like, "Oh my God, that was so lovely! Oh my God, you got such great voices. Your harmony's beautiful." Lovely couple from South California told us that they really seem to enjoy it, and that's the one thing I really love about my job is when I get a chance to make someone's day a little bit better than it might otherwise have been. That makes me feel very lucky, and I think it's a very special thing to be able to do for people. And that's not being big-headed at all. I feel grateful. I feel grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that. And Jez, Karen, and Jane, all amazing voices, really amazing, and we work well together. So I would call that a success, and I hope to do this again sometime very soon. Tomorrow is Klaipeda, which is in Lithuania, so we're at sea now. It was a little bit odd. There was one moment when we move around on the stage quite a lot, but there's one moment where three of us stand very still while someone else is singing a slow song, and that was the first time I really, on stage, really felt the slight movement of the ship. It's kind of weird. I mean, I've been on cross-channel ferries and stuff before. I wasn't expecting a ship this big to have that kind of movement, but it was quite fun actually. And I could see out the corner of my eye the other two just sort of slightly swaying in unison. I think the three of us must have looked like a bunch of flowers waving in the wind. Right, I'm off for a well-earned drink. I will see you tomorrow in Klaipeda.
I've just come up on deck because this is the most amazing sunset. Thank you, Baltic Sea, for putting on such a fantastic show for us. Beautiful.
Right, we've docked in Klaipeda. In Lithuania, or Lithuania as they call it in these parts. Behind me you can see the Serenade of the Sea. As we got off, there was a fantastic display of some local singers in local national dress singing what appeared to be a local folk song, but the tune was the tune of ABBA's Arrival, so I suddenly felt incredibly welcome. I'm here in Lithuania. I have no idea where I'm going. There's a coach coming behind me, so I better just get out of the way. I have no idea where I'm going. I'm just pushing off into the town by myself. I have some maps downloaded on my iPad, so I should be okay. I'm going to head to the old town and see what delights await me here.
The old market in Klaipeda. It seems a little dilapidated. It's a bit tragic. I know it's raining today and it's not very warm, but the market is kind of deserted. There's the odd stall in the day. You see some hats and clothes being sold by a little old lady with a headscarf down there. And just here, just over this pillar, there's ornaments and bookstall. It's just all laid out on these stone tablets, really. And it seems a little bit sad.
I get the strong impression I'm missing something here in Klaipeda. Perhaps I'm in the wrong part of town. I'm sort of walking through bits of the old town, and I don't know, there doesn't seem to be a great deal to recommend it here. I mean, looking at Wikipedia, the population is very small. It may be Lithuania's third largest city, but the population is only about 150,000, so I wouldn't expect it to be completely bustling. But it is, well, a little quiet. It's Monday morning, it's approaching lunchtime on Monday, and I'd expect to see more people around and more things going on, but I haven't seen, for Lithuania's sort of busiest port, I haven't seen a great deal going on. Perhaps I'm just in the wrong place. I've just approached this market square, which is quite nice. There seems to be, I mean, I'm sad to say it's not quite like Riga. Maybe I'll carry on exploring and see if I can find the really nice bits. I found a nice little square here in Klaipeda.
There's some nice half-timbered buildings behind me that you can see there, and it's quite odd. I am constantly seeing groups of people who are clearly from the boat, wandering around with maps, all sort of looking slightly confused. There's just nothing here, and there's one little souvenir shop, and I did buy a little Lithuanian souvenir. There's a little hint to what it might be there, but I'll talk about that when I get home. It's all a bit odd. It's a bit of a ghost town. It's like the opposite of the Mare Celeste. We've arrived on a bustling ship to a ghost town rather than coming across a ship with nobody on it. It is a very, very peculiar place. There's no shops. It doesn't seem to be a shopping centre that I've found. I'm just clearly in the wrong part of town. Now this is a little bit more like it. I found one of the larger squares here, and I'll show you around the corner in a little bit. There's a theatre over to my left, a big pretty building in front of me, a casino to my right and an Irish pub. But if you can see behind me, there's a lady on the market stall who is selling socks, hand-knitted socks, and she's there knitting the socks that she's about to sell. This is very delightful. This is very charming for me, of course, and I'm hoping interesting for all of you. The socks are all sort of in natural colours, and she's knitting continental style, I can see on DPN, so it's very, very exciting, and I'm glad I saw that. I'm very happy to say that I bought some of the socks from the lady who was knitting them here in the market square. Just €10, and I think it's important to support people doing that, and she showed me a really, really nifty trick. I was looking at a pair of socks and I asked her how much in my best Lithuanian, and she told me, and at first I didn't understand the answer, but then I thought about it and she showed me, and then I realised she said deshimt, which is 10, and I had just read that, so I knew that was 10, but I just didn't quite get it. And then she took the socks that I was looking at and she said to me, make a fist. She didn't say it in English, but she gestured that I should put my fist up. And I did, wondering what she was going to do, and she took the socks and she wrapped the foot of the socks around my closed fist, and they joined, the heel and the toe joined up perfectly, and so she told me that they would fit. Now, I don't know, I have to try this out with some of my own socks to see if that works, but that's really, really, for sock knitters, I guess by the time you've done the heel and the toe it's possibly too late, but it's a really useful way of knowing exactly how it's going to work. Let's hope that will work out well with all of my socks. I'm going to try it with some of my hand knit socks at home, and then she thanked me, and she seemed really pleased that I wanted to buy. I showed her some of my knitting and she made nice noises, and I said nice noises about hers. We had no common language, but we had a nice little chat with lots of smiles and lots of nodding. And she was delightful, and I'm really, really pleased I was able to buy some of her lovely knitting. Interestingly, you may see on some of the stalls behind me, a lot of the shops here and a lot of the stalls sell amber, and amber, I guess, must be a local thing. I know it is in Poland, which is not too far away, so it's a big deal here as well, clearly. It seems I've done Klaipeda a little bit of a disservice. The sun is coming out now, which probably helps, and I found the main street, which does seem to have a little bit more action, bustle, shops, people, things to do, things to see, noisy mopeds. Yeah, it's actually a very, very nice place indeed. The one thing I will say for Klaipeda, it's much, much prettier in the sunshine. It's an odd place, really. It doesn't seem like it's trying to be overly touristy. It doesn't seem like a city that has been had so much planning gone into it. Riga feels kind of structured and all part of one thing. Klaipeda is a mixture. It just gets sort of getting on with it. There's people living here. There's parks. There's this kind of strange chimney thing behind me. I don't know what is this. There's people jumping into rivers, canoeing. It's like it's just getting on with its own life, and there's some ugly stuff and there's some nice stuff, and it's just all here. It feels very sort of, actually quite natural, quite laid back, and nothing too manufactured or synthetic about it. I think I like it. This sculpture symbolises the independence of Lithuania from the Soviet Union. A very important part of Lithuanian culture, I suspect. I'm in Klaipeda's sculpture park. In the 1970s, I think 1977, the 67 different artists got together and over the next 15 years created 116 sculptures, different colours, stone, beautiful things, a little bit Barbara Hepworth-esque. It's all that kind of era. So the early 80s and the late 70s created this sculpture park, and it's very, very lovely. It's in this beautiful little tranquil wood. There's just sculptures all around me. I'm trying to find an angle where you can see some of them in the background, but I seem to have found an area where there's not many. There they are, all around the back there. There we are, some lovely things there. And it's really, really very nice. It feels very peaceful and calm. This was built on the site of Klaipeda's old cemetery. And I wonder if that's what's adding to the aura and atmosphere of peace and loveliness. That's right, young man, keep it covered. It really does seem that Lithuania likes its creepy, kind of sinister statues. Not that I want to lower the tone or anything, but there's something about this that just looks rather rude. I can't help but think that all the yellow cranes dotted around the port of Klaipeda look for all the world like giant giraffes. Don't you think? They have 4 legs, the body, the long neck, the colour. Perfect giraffes. Actually, if you look really closely, they're like giraffes on roller skates. What you're seeing down there is the shadow of the boat that I'm on, and right at the very front, there's me waving. It's not long now before we push away from the shores of Klaipeda here in Lithuania and make our way. We've got a sea day tomorrow, so we're not going to go tomorrow at all. There we'll be on the boat, and then we end up in Warnemünde in Germany, where we'll disembark and get on the train to Berlin to get our way home. I shall think back very fondly of this trip. Had a nice time here in Lithuania. It's been a very gentle day, and I think that's probably just what I needed after the adrenaline and the craziness of the 2 shows yesterday, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But it was nice to have a restful, relaxing day. So perhaps it's just as well that Klaipeda is not the kind of city that's full of bustle and vigour and life like many other cities can be. It's a much gentler pace of life here. I had a wonderful time. Thanks, Lithuania. Today is a day at sea, and as you can see behind me, there's nothing but sea. 360 degrees all the way around the boat. That's absolutely all there is to see. Nothing but water as far as you can look.
Coming in from the side, but these are the representatives of the 886 crew members from all around the world. Please give them a huge round of applause.
I've just come back from the Centrum, which is the main atrium that goes up between 12 floors on the ship, and I've been watching what they call the crew parade of nations. And they're very, very proud on this ship that they represent people, the staff members, the crew members represent people from 64 different nations in the world. That's, as was pointed out by Topi, the cruise director, that's 1 in 3 countries of the world represented here.
And it's so bizarre. I found the whole thing incredibly moving. I think part of that is due to what we in the UK have recently done in terms of voting out of the EU, and how badly affected by that I have been, and how I felt sorry about that. But it was just, they paraded through the centrum with flags of all these 64 nations, and just to see all those people all representing their home countries, all smiling and laughing and dancing and waving their flags with such pride, all working together and living together. And as Topi said, perhaps the rest of the world can learn something from the Serenade of the Seas. Well, I've reached the end of my last day on board the Serenade of the Seas. It's been an eventful day. After the Parade of Nations earlier on, we got together and went up onto the roof to play a game of crazy golf, which was really stupid. It was quite cold up there, actually. We're in the Baltic Sea, of course. It felt quite chilly up there, sort of literally around one of the funnels of the ship. There's about 12 holes, I think. It was very funny. And then we had a beautiful dinner and watched the show. Oh, well, we went to the cinema, that's right. We went to the onboard cinema and watched Superman versus Batman, or Batman versus Superman, I forget which. That's 2.5 hours of my life I'm never getting back. It was awful. I mean, I just didn't see the point of it. It was dreadful. And when it turned out that Batman and Superman are going to stop fighting just because they found out they've both got mothers called Martha, well, I think I just lost the will to live. But then we went from there. We went to there's water dripping. I've just had a drink. Sorry about that. It was disgusting. I'm just water dripping out of my moustache. I wanted to just suck that away. I'm very tired. You know me by now. I'm not the classiest of gentlemen. And then this evening we went to the Fortune Theatre on board, which is where we had performed the other night, to see the cruise cast, the production team doing one of the shows called Vibology, and it was perfect cruise ship show. It was no story or anything like that, just sort of a collection of songs sort of through the ages, sort of funky tunes, and it was some gaudy costumes, lots of feathers, lots of satin, lots of velvet, 4 singers, and I'll let you in a little secret. I promise you won't tell anyone. We knew that one of the girls was miming to one of the singers, because we'd spoken to her when we did our show, and she was terrified because the girl who is usually one of the lead singers has got ill and had to leave the ship. Excuse me. I'm back. That was Jez on the telephone. It's about midnight at the moment, so we should be in bed. We are leaving the ship tomorrow, and we have to get off at 9 o'clock, because we have a car waiting to pick us up from the gangplank to take us to Berlin. It's about Google Maps says it's about a 2-hour drive from here, Warnemünde, to Berlin Airport, and our flight's not until about 4:45 in the afternoon. So for some reason they said that our taxi was coming at 9 o'clock, but Jez has just called me to let me know that the production cruise director has just phoned one of the girls to let her know that actually they're deciding to come at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning, not 9 o'clock. So for some reason they seem to be worried that it's going to take us a long time to get into Berlin, but that's like 7 hours before we fly for a 2-hour journey. Anyway, I don't get to argue about it, I just have to do as I'm told. Anyway, so I was talking about this girl who was miming. One of the girls had been taken ill, and they had a recording of her voice. I guess just in case people get sick and stuff, they can mime to their own voices, but it was somebody, because she'd gone, one of the other dancers who's not one of the singers was having to mime, so we knew that. She did a brilliant job. I think there's one moment where she closed her mouth at the end of a note, but the note carried on. I think that's only a fraction of a second, only because I was looking out for it. I don't think the audience would have known at all. Not that I like it when people pull the wool over an audience's eyes, but I think sometimes needs must, you know.
So that's been our day, and then we just went up for, after the theatre we went up to the Solarium Cafe, which is the only place that does any sort of food late at night, and we had some biscuits and some puddings up there and a couple of drinks, soft drinks. I don't drink. And, well, I do, but not on this gig. And we've met some really, really lovely people. I met a couple from New York. Well, they met in New York. They live in Florida. One is Polish and one is from Oklahoma. Two lovely gentlemen. They've been together as a couple for 28 years, and they're just delightful. And the odd thing about that I didn't really expect is that because we did our gigs at the beginning of our stay here, and we've had the last 2 days just as passengers, everyone on the ship knows who we are, and it hadn't really occurred to me that would be the case. It's lovely. I mean, people are coming up and everyone's saying something lovely. Oh my goodness, you're the singers. Oh, you were fantastic, and it's really nice. The feedback has been brilliant, but it is quite disconcerting because we have to be on our best behaviour all the time and watch what we're saying in conversations. And actors, when they get together, can tend to be a little bit vulgar and a little bit bawdy, a little bit brash. And we have been guilty about that. We've also been talking about sort of political things, and there's a lot of Americans on board who may not necessarily agree with the views that we've been espousing to each other, but so that's usually okay. But of course, when everyone knows who you are, a little bit odd. But it's been lovely. It's been really, really fantastic time. I've thoroughly enjoyed my first ever cruise ship experience. Everyone's been wonderful. The staff on board the ship have been fantastic. I'm going to stop this because I'm burbling. I'm really, really tired, and now I have 1 hour less sleep. So I'm going to go, and I'll see you back in England. Bye. I can't tell you what an amazing time I had. It was such a delight. I've never been on a cruise ship before. It was absolutely my first time, certainly as a performer, but not as a guest either. I'm not sure, to be honest, if it's the kind of holiday that would be top of my list to book for myself, but I thoroughly enjoyed being on the ship. I thoroughly enjoyed certainly singing, and I really, I just want to do some more. I really, really do. The one thing I didn't really get a chance to talk about in those videos was while we were still in Riga. I really did fall in love with Riga. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. While we were there, I had put out on Instagram a little message saying, I'm in Riga, tomorrow morning I'm going to Hobby Wool, which you saw in the video, and what was I saying? Oh yeah, and I wondered if anybody lived in Riga and wanted to meet up and go shopping with me. Well, I didn't know anyone in Riga, and I don't think anyone from Riga followed me or knew me, but I was put in touch with the lovely Melody Hoffman, who is B Mandarines, Mandarine, I don't know, she's French, I don't know how she pronounces it, on Instagram, and I believe on Ravelry as well. And we were put in touch with each other by a third party, and she said, oh yes, I'd love to meet you. I was like, great. We didn't know each other at all before. I did a little bit of research into her Instagram feed. Oh my goodness. Check out B Mandarines. Her Instagram photographs are all so beautiful. I don't know if it's something to do with the light in Riga, in Latvia. I don't know whether it's something to do with her just amazing photography, or whether she's got just a brilliant eye for composing a photo, or possibly all of the above. But it was so, so lovely to meet her. And it really was what social media does when it's at its best. You know, we didn't know each other at all. We'd never heard of each other. And there we were. I was in a foreign city, somewhere I've never been before. Didn't know anyone apart from the 3 people I was travelling with. And we got together and we went off for a little drink because the shop hadn't opened. It was Sunday morning. The shop didn't open until 11 o'clock, and we arranged to meet up at 10, thinking it would be. Of course it wasn't. So we went off for a drink, we had a lovely little chat. Melody, if you're watching, I don't know if you are, but thank you so much for spending your morning with me. I thoroughly enjoyed meeting you. It was so lovely to have somebody to go around Hobby Wool with, someone who knew the deal there. I was particularly looking for Latvian wool, And she did say to me that you can't necessarily tell if it's Latvian wool. Sometimes it seems that they might just stick stickers on it and say it is, but I'm taking everything at face value. I did buy some lovely things, and they are they are also in my stash enhancement section coming up later. Actually, the stuff from Alison is over there. I'll get that in a minute. Yeah, everything about it was just splendid. I know that Karen and Jez, who didn't get their luggage, had a bit of a fraught time. Thankfully, Jane and I both did. I may not have been quite so forgiving, but it was just, everything about it was brilliant. I could wax lyrical about it. I'm not going to. I had the most amazing time, and I got back. So basically the itinerary was, we flew out on the Saturday morning to Riga, spent the night there overnight in a hotel. Funniest thing was, we went out for lunch when we got there, because we arrived early afternoon, and we'd never met before that morning. I had known Karen since my drama college days. She was the year above me, but we'd never worked together, and I haven't seen her for possibly 15 years. Jez and Jane I didn't know at all. And Jez was also new to the ship show, as was I. So we hadn't had any rehearsal time in the UK. Our schedules just didn't coincide for that. So we were sitting in a restaurant having a pizza, and Karen had her fingers on the table. She was like, okay, this is you, Nathan, this is Jez, and then at this point the girls would come through the middle, and we basically plotted the whole show with Karen's 4 fingers. And at one point, I just remember this. At one point, I was saying, well, which finger am I? And she's right. Okay, so she got the pepper pot and the salt, and she got a hairband from her bag or from her hair. I can't remember which, and something else. And I was the brown hairband. So we plotted through the whole show on the restaurant table. It was so silly. It was so silly. That evening we went into Karen's room and we sang through the show quietly, just so we knew that we could all get our harmonies together and everything was good. Our cut-offs were right. But no real music. I had a recording of the show, an audio recording of the show. But that was basically it. So the next morning, after I'd met Melody and gone to Hobby Wool, we got on the ship. Wasn't where we thought it was going to be. Our itinerary simply said, board the ship in Riga. It wasn't in Riga. It was about 25 minutes cab ride outside. Thankfully, there is a way that you can look at the current location of any of these big cruise ships. And we knew the name of our ship, and Jez knew this from having done lots of cruises before. So we got my iPad out and we Googled Serenade of the Sea current location, and we found a spot on the map that was not in Riga, just as well, because we were about to head in a cab somewhere else. Because there is something called the Riga passenger terminal. It's not there. It's outside the city. So we managed to sort of compare the map that I downloaded on my iPad with this map on the website of where the ship was. And we thought, oh, it must be there. Managed to convey this to the taxi driver and got in. So we got on the ship. We did our rehearsal with the band. We had 2 hours with them. That was all. I think I said that in the film. And then we did the shows. I cannot wait. I hope very much that I get a chance to go on another of these cruises very soon. There'll be a lot less pressure a second time round because I know the show by now. We'll have to see. And Thursday, I thankfully had a day off. I was exhausted. I was absolutely exhausted. My voice was tired, and late nights. I hadn't been sleeping so well on the boat. Noisy. Air conditioning in my room. Thankfully, not the noise of the engines at all, which I was anticipating. And then Friday was my cousin Kelly's wedding. Now Kelly is she's actually, oh, that's my back. Sorry about that. She's actually my cousin's daughter. So she's my first cousin once removed. My cousin Carol, and Kelly used to live just down the road, and she married her now husband Sav, and it was a beautifully sort of mixed heritage wedding. Sav's lineage is Greek Cypriot and Spanish. And so that was reflected in the food, but the theme of the wedding was an English country fete, which was just lovely. There was a bouncy castle for the kids, there was an ice cream maker thing there, and there was croquet on the lawn, and bunting everywhere, and it was just really, really lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Her brother Lee sang, which was really, really nice. He's got a great, really good sort of authentic pop voice, very, very different from my voice, which is the musical theatre side. He sings in a way that I just can't do. I love it. Really, really nice. I enjoyed hearing that a lot. And that was down in Somerset, so that was quite a long day, down and back on Friday. And then Saturday was the 6th of August, and we were celebrating Ben's birthday, which was actually yesterday, being Monday the 8th. Today is Tuesday the 9th, of course. And we went punting in Cambridge. So it's just been a whirlwind, non-stop couple of weeks. We had an amazing, we had an amazing few hours there. We hired a punt, 2 punts actually, there were 11 of us. We punted down the river. Nobody fell in this year. I did a bridge climb, but I had a quite inexperienced punter manoeuvring the boat. A bridge climb, by the way, there's 2 little footbridges that go across the Cam, the river there, and if you time it right, if the punt is going slowly enough, you can sort of crouch on the front of the boat, and you can climb, and you can sort of leap off the boat, climb up over the railings, over the other side of the boat, get over again, and drop yourself back down into the punt before it passes under the river, under the bridge. And the punt was going a little bit too quickly, so I didn't quite make it. Although actually, I think I could have done it if people had gone out of the way and I could have jumped further back in the boat. I was trying to get back into the front of the boat. I think usually I normally get back in the back. So maybe it would have been okay. Maybe I just did it all wrong, thinking about it. I bruised myself a little bit. Oh, it's kind of gone now, I'm not going to show you. That I had a little bit of a bruise as I was letting myself down. I didn't notice. It was great fun. No one was going to do a bridge climb. And Ben had said, because we often do rounders as well, and Ben's been punting on his birthday for 20 odd years, and he said to me, as we set off, he said, is there any point taking the rounders equipment? I said, thinking of the people who were going to go, probably not. And he very sadly looked at me and said, what happened to rounders? We're just getting old. So the first bridge came and went. I was actually punting at that point. So if people don't know what punting is, it's a flat-bottomed boat with a square for a long boat, and you have a great big pole that you push through the water, and you lift it up, and then you push it back again and push again through. It's incredibly hard work, and it's really difficult to steer. So you use the stick as a kind of rudder in the water behind you, but it's quite clumsy. So I was punting as we went under the first bridge. And as we got to the second, I was like, do you know, I'm not having this. I'm not having a year where nobody goes over the bridge. So even though I'm now 42, I climbed the bridge. I felt quite proud. I may not have made it into the punt in time, and they may have had to stop and back up a little bit so I could drop myself back in. But I did the bridge climb. I just can't let go. I can't let go of my youth. Not like that. Can't do it. And we punted a couple of miles down the river to Grantchester, outside Cambridge. We stopped and had a lovely picnic lunch there in the field, as we always do, and then we went to the orchard, punted on a bit further, I think possibly further than we've ever been before, to a fantastic place called the Orchard, which is exactly that. It's a fruit orchard, and they do cream teas, and you just sit amongst the trees in deck chairs, and it's just delightful. It's really, really lovely. So that was the day. Then we punted back, and then we sort of got on the train and came home, and it was very charming. But I tell you, come Sunday, I was exhausted, and then yesterday was back at work. Yesterday was Ben's birthday, so we went up to his parents after I finished work, had a lovely evening there with them, and that brings us up to date. Whew! This is going to get a long one, and I've got to go out soon. I'm meeting a very dear friend of mine who's coming over from America. His name is Rob Carey, and he's a musical theatre writer. He and his husband, John Tolans, together wrote the screenplay to the recent US broadcast of Grease Live, where the show, the musical is done live on television, but they rewrote the book to make it the screenplay for that, as he's very, very popular and successful writer in America. We met when he was the book writer on Flashdance, and I did the original workshop for Flashdance over here in the UK. We've remained friends ever since. He's in the UK for a couple of days. We're going off to meet him for dinner tonight, so I need to crack on. Right, let's get straight into stash enhancement. I'm going to do it in chronological order, starting with, thank you, Kay, thank you so much. I'm just going to undo this little bit of ribbon, a little bag. This is such a special thing. Kay, for those of you who don't know, has started her own dyeing. She's very good at it. And this is beautiful. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness, it's so gorgeous. And she's got her little Bakery Bears cottage. Can you see that? Bakery Bears cottage. It's this bit of fabric that's been cut out and stuck on with their lovely stamp on it. It's called the Middleham base. Middleham base. Middleham, we'd say in England. It's 80% superwash BFL. I do like a bit of BFL. And 20% nylon, and it's high twist. It's 365 meters to 100 grams. So it's quite a heavy fingering weight, which I like. I do quite like that. That's easy enough for me to make a pair of socks out of, and a pair of socks out of it I shall make. It's really lovely. BFL has a denseness, I find, that you don't get with merino. It's got a sturdiness to it. It's not harsh in any way. This is really soft. It's just, Kay, thank you so much. It really is completely and utterly beautiful. It's got these lovely speckles. Now I'm not often, I've said this before, I don't really like speckles. These speckles are well thought through, I think, because they are sort of concentrated versions of the colours that are in the sock. What I don't like is if you get just like random speckled colours. That's not what Kay's done here. She did let me into a couple of trade secrets on how some of the techniques are done, and I'm not going to share them here. That's for Kay to know, but I was really fascinated to know how she does some of this stuff. It's just so, isn't it so beautiful? Oh, it's bleaching out a little bit there. It was, let's see if I can, it's kind of true to colour. Maybe a little bit more intense in life. Okay, thank you. I really love it. I can't wait to get it on the needles. It may have to go in stash for a little bit. I've got yarn queuing up to be used at the moment, but this will probably work its way somewhere near the top of that queue. I really like it. So I don't know how much Kay is charging for her dyed yarn, and I think some of the colourways might be available only to their patrons, but if I head over to Bakery Bears Etsy shop or their Instagram, I'm sure Kay will be able to tell you exactly where to find this lovely stuff should you want some of your own. The colourway is called Azim's Dream. Azim's Dream. Thank you. So then I went to, as I told you, Woolly Workshop in Durham, and I'll get the yarn that I bought there. It was actually Ben that found this. I didn't know what I was looking for. I wanted to get something just to commemorate our lovely camping trip, but Ben found this. It caught his eye, and it turns out, talking to Alison, I didn't realise this, but it's her own hand spun, and she dyed the fibres herself as well using natural plant dyes. So I couldn't be happier that having by this point got to know her and realised what a delightful lady she was, that the yarn that I had chosen to want to take home with me was hers. Now it's two sort of little skeins. It's Shetland wool. I've got about 100 grams here. It's thick and thin, as hand spun often is, but look at this. It's utterly beautiful. I mean, so many colours in there, and they all work so well together. There's pale greens, there's a little bit of grey, sort of like purpley grey there. There's oranges and mustards and yellows and burgundies and reds and some pinks and some browns. I mean, it just, the variety of those colours just goes on forever. It's absolutely beautiful, really stunning, and what does it say on here? It says the Woolly Workshop, yarns, fleece and fibre. She sells, oh, one thing I didn't say while we were there, she sells buckets of just locks and fleece. So if you want to be dyeing things in the grease, spinning things in the grease, that's the place for you. And she's got quite a lot of different British sheep fibres there. Some dyed, but most often just there, straight off the sheep. It's a really, really great resource. This is hand-dyed Shetland wool. I paid £14 for 100 grams, and I think that's a real bargain. I don't know what the yardage is on this. I suspect it's going to be a hat. I think this is going to be a really, really beautiful hat. It's, oh golly, it's, and for pure Shetland wool, do you know that a lot of the time Shetland wool can feel a little bit rough and rustic and scratchy. This doesn't at all. It's, maybe I'm just getting used to it, getting more acclimatized to it. I love this. I really, really love it. Dan Jones, are you jealous? Are you jealous, Dan Jones? I know you love your hand dye. Look at it. It's a riot of colour, but they all work so well together. They're all individually the colours are so bright, but together I don't know. It looks to me like the colours you get on an old-fashioned carousel. Possibly that's due to the barber poling effect as well, like the poles that hold the horses on the merry-go-rounds. But I think it just looks like those sorts of colours, the golds and the browns and the greens and the red. Oh, it's just lovely. It's just lovely. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I think I might want to own it for a little while before I knit with it. Really like that. Then, what else did I buy? Oh, yes, while I was in Riga, of course, I went to Hobbywool. And the yarn on there was so cheap. I couldn't believe it. I bought this huge skein. Now it does say, it says limited collection. It does say that it said at the, it doesn't say on here actually, it did say that it was Latvian wool. So I'm hoping it is. And this was just €10. And it's 256 grams. And it's 100, it's fingering weight, so it's 400 meters to 100 grams. And so I've got about a kilometre of yarn in this one skein. Ooh, isn't that fun? These colours are like an 80s bedspread with matching curtains. So many bedrooms in the 80s had the grey, the black and the red and the silver stripes on everything. This is the Hobbywool logo, you can see there, Hobbywool. This is quite rustic. I'm okay with that. I know Ben can't even touch this. He absolutely can't touch it. It doesn't bother me. I might not want it as a hat, but I think it smells a bit sheepy too. I think it's something that could work well as a shawl. I think these colours would be very nice in some kind of shawl, something very geometric, and I suspect this will wash and condition well. It feels quite a lot like the County yarn with those wonderful gradients, and that can feel quite scratchy to work with and to the touch, but actually it softens really well when it's washed and it conditions really nicely. I think this feels like it'll do the same sort of thing. So that was that. They had this fantastic wall full of different colours and colourways, and I just didn't know what to do with myself really. I could have come home with a lot more, because that €10 for 1,000 meters. That's amazing. That's an amazing price. They also had a little basket of mini skeins, which are I think they're 25 grams each, and they were €1 each. So I bought 4, and Melody helped me choose the colours, and these are they. Aren't they amazing? Look at that. It did say pure Latvian wool. Again, who knows? There's no ball band on these, but aren't they great colours? Look at them. Look how lovely they are. Yee! So what I'm going to do with these, I have a plan to make a crazy pair of socks with them. I'm not going to stripe them. I'm going to do this one in kind of mismatched chunks. So maybe the toes and heels in one colour, and then sections in another. I don't know quite how I'll work it out yet, but there's enough here for one pair of socks, and I want to use the colours, and I want to do them something that's a little bit unusual Franken socks of some kind, and I think these are going to work very, very nicely. Those colours are gorgeous. I shall really enjoy working with those. And then, because I was in Latvia, and Latvia of course has a fantastic knitting tradition, I wanted to get something that was from Latvia. And I know it's a kit, I'm sure it's a bit touristy, but it's a kit to make some mittens. Knit like a Latvian, it says here, or how to make a pair of genuine Latvian mittens. Now I don't know much about this, I'll do a little bit of research, but apparently all the different patterns traditionally meant something different, and I've got a kit that will make this particular pattern, which I think is very, very attractive. It's all stranded, but there's often all 4 colours in one row. So they're going to be quite thick and chunky. I think I have to work out exactly what yarns I need at any given point. And the pattern is all written in English. It's not very straightforward. It's not particularly clear. It says, the story of a 1,000-year-old Latvian mitten. Now I'd have wanted that to be 1,000-year-old Latvian mitten because it's an adjectival phrase, but they haven't done that. That's today's grammar rant. Latvia is famous for the fact that the oldest mittens have been found here by archaeologists. They are estimated to be approximately 10 centuries old. For several centuries they were the main form of gift and endowed with magical significance. Nowadays, Latvian mittens, so diverse in their colours and patterns, are still an essential part of our winter clothing. Every mitten has its own story, as every pattern knitted has its own meaning, and brings with it its own wish. This is lovely. Most of these patterns have been derived from the Latvian tradition of deities and gods. Every deity and god had its own task and mission, and it was represented by one or more symbols that characterised it. So that's a little bit of the information there. So this is a mitten from the Kurzem region from the 18th century. Wow, and that's basically the colour chart. You get sort of construction information inside, but that's the chart. So you basically, however many stitches you've got, you just work from that. It's all very, very haphazard, but the kit comes with enough yarn in the colours required for it. So very, very vibrant, and I think you'll see here, pretty spot on with what's on the page. So that's going to be a really, really fun thing to make as a beautiful memento of my fabulous time in Riga. So then, of course, we were in Klaipeda, and as you'll have seen from the video, I bought 2 pairs of socks. Early on in the day, when I still hadn't found out that Klaipeda had anything going for it, I was in a souvenir shop and I bought these, which I thought, you know, traditional Latvian socks, lovely reindeer on them with this kind of zigzag chevron pattern. I guess that might be a tree, must be a tree. Now, these are 11 euros. They're not the best, I have to say. I think you can see where the knitter was catching the floats on the back, because it's quite a long passage of black here, and she was catching them in the same place on every row, so of course it's showing through, and it does that on all of them. And the same is true in the white sections as well. It's quite a lot of, but you know what, they're charming, they're really, really charming. But these were kind of souvenir socks. Then I found the nice lady knitting her own, and these are the ones that she wrapped around my fist. So exciting. They're not the best fit in the world, I have to say. They're going to be great house socks. It'll be really fun to have around the house. Why don't I show you? Oh, these are my Puli socks, okay? They shrunk, so I'm just sort of wearing them around the house now to try and stretch them out a bit. I want to separate these, but I don't know if it's attached. I don't want to just snap that. So, you know, they do fit. They're a little bit kind of baggy around the toe, but they're certainly the right length. They're just very standard grey socks with these lovely 3 narrow stripes and a thicker stripe there. And they will be incredibly nice to wear in the winter, I think, because do you know what? There's no negative ease in them whatsoever. They're quite baggy, and that actually makes them feel much, much warmer than socks that fit more snugly. So, and they go on nice and easily. These, however, I can hardly get the colourwork section over my heel at all. So these will definitely get some use out of them. And if you can see, this was how I had to hold my fist up. And if I put the soft toe in there and wrap the foot around, look at that. It meets perfectly. So this is the length of the foot wrapping around my fist is what told the lady that they would fit. So there is a bit of extra give there. So, you know, if I wanted a snugger fit, then that's not a bad way of doing it. It worked. I don't mind that at all. It worked. And I told Sam about this the other day, and he got so excited. It was like, for me, you know, this might be something that you have known all your lives and people know all about with knitting socks. Put this all back on now. But it was new to me, and because it came from this lady who'd obviously been knitting all her life, she was very fast. She was holding 2 strands of yarn double, and she was knitting continental, and she was doing it on DPNs, as I mentioned in the film. And she's clearly been doing this all her life. She could dash off socks quickly enough to make it worthwhile selling them, and that's possibly a tip that's been handed down through her family for generations and generations. There's something very special about that. I really enjoyed meeting her, and I really felt a connection from different countries, different knitting styles, no common language except knits and pearls. I thought it was charming. Very, very happy. And that is my stash enhancement. Didn't I do well? So there's quite a lot added to the pot, but it's been a busy time, and I've been to some special places. And we all know that, you know, beautiful skein of yarn is a postcard full of memories from somewhere fantastic that you've been to, and I don't begrudge myself buying those things one iota. So moving on then into, I don't have any FOs today, I'm afraid. I haven't had a great deal of time for knitting, as I'm sure you can imagine, but I have made a little bit of progress on the Il Barato scarf. You may not notice the difference, but since you last saw it, I've added this top section here on both sides, looking like that. I think I probably need to pay some attention to weaving some ends in before this scarf gets too much longer. Otherwise it's going to be a proper end weaving in hell at the end, so I should do some as I go along. It's so easy with double knitting. You'd basically just shove the ends inside and they all felt together. It's not a major issue, it just needs to be done. But this is coming along so beautifully. It's going to look really opulent and really gorgeous, and I can't wait. I thoroughly enjoy knitting it. It's flying, when I do get the chance, it's flying off the needles. This is maybe about a couple of hours, if that. There's not very many stitches per row, and it's just so gorgeous, and Larissa's yarn is so beautiful to work with. So to recap then, this is the scarf that has come from a book of 16th century Italian needlework charts, which I found online, which somebody pointed me in the right direction of, and it's knitted with Larissa, who is travel knitter. Her hand-dyed yarn and her colours are so vibrant and so fantastic, and all of these patterns are so beautiful, and they're working so well together. I think these 4 colours do go together in any kind of combination. So I'm being as random as I can as I choose the colours. It's really hard actually to be random when you've only got 4 colours to choose from, to sort of space them out randomly but evenly, so you don't get sort of a big concentration of one colour in one place. But I'm really enjoying this. I look forward to getting a bit more time to spend on it, which may not be for a while, but I'll talk about that in a moment. So that's the Il Barato scarf, and I love it. I really, really do love it. In my Superman bag, thank you, Petra. And I've also made a little bit more headway on my blue socks. There's one completed sock, which I can't remember if I showed you last time. This is the yarn that I bought from Zena, from Little Yellow Ute Crafts. It's soprano sock, and it's called Hawaiian Blue is the colourway. So this is finished and fits really, really nicely. And it's one of my toe-ups recipes. So if you are looking and you haven't yet heard about Sockmatician's toe-ups, the STUs, the pattern is only £2. It's a good recipe for doing a toe-up sock with a heel flap and gusset, and the heel construction is done, the heel turn is done using German short rows. It's only £2. It's going to fit anybody because it's a recipe for doing a little bit of maths to make the stitch count work for any stitch count you like. My own little plug there, but here's the second one. I'm part way through the gusset increases. I started the gusset increases about there, so I'm about an inch into the gusset increases there. Again, working from the toe up, starts with Judy Becker's Magic Cast On, and that's coming along very nicely. The colourway, it's very, very bright blue. It's almost electric, but it's not showing up. Oh, that's a bit better. It's sort of about that much. It's sort of a different, like a cross between baby blue and sky blue, but with a little bit of turquoisey green in there. It's really pretty. It's really pretty. Very unusual colour for me. It's not in my usual spectrum at all, but I like it. How? How do I like it? A lot. That's how. So there's a little bit of progress on that. And then, while I was on the ship, I did do quite a lot of work on the Hexahap. The Hexahap, of course, is from the Book of Haps, edited by Kate Davis and Jen Arnold-Culliford, and I am working on the Hexahap, which will look like that, except mine is done with different colours, as I've explained before. So I finished the second. It's a hexagonal, as the name might tell you, and I finished 2 triangular wedges. Gosh, it's hard to get into shot. Basically, there I finished the 2 wedges, and I've literally just before I started filming, I've just prepared the base row for the next wedge. Now I'm doing things slightly differently for how I pick. Usually you'd be picking these stitches up in pattern, but because I'm changing the colour, that leads to little blips. I explained this last time, but for anyone who hasn't watched the last episode, it's a hat. The hat is worked in a modular way, so you work one triangle, then you pick up stitches down one edge and work the next one, and work all the way around, and then graft the 2. As you meet each other, you graft the 2 edges together. I'm not doing that because I didn't want the thing. So I'm sewing, getting a tapestry needle and sewing a line of loops down the finished edge, and I'm knitting into those instead of picking up, and that's eliminating the blips entirely. And as you can see, that's my line there. There's no colour blips. What I mean by the colour blips, it would look like where my provisional cast on is. Can you see every 6 there's these blips showing through, which some people may not like. Every 6 stitches you get 6 pearl bumps showing through. I just didn't want that effect. There's nothing wrong with it, of course, but I like clean, tidy edges, and the way that I am doing it works very nicely. Gosh, in the light there you can really see the texture working so very well. These beautiful little diamonds made of stocking stitch, reverse stocking stitch and garter stitch, and then in that one as well. It's so lovely, and this is my this is the edging. It's a lace edging, and it's done to keep in shape. You get these little garter wedges at the corners. It's so satisfying to knit, and every time you start a wedge you think, oh, it'll take forever, but of course every row is shorter than the one before, so you race and race towards the point of the triangle. I'm really, really loving knitting it. The other thing that I've got on the needles is something that I can't actually talk about. It's a commission knit, potentially for publication in a magazine, so it has to be kept under wraps. I'm knitting it with the Casbah sock yarn that I got for my birthday from Ben's parents in the pewter colourway, which is incredibly beautiful, and I can show you that. I've caked it up. It just looks like a whole load of rusted metal. Really, really gorgeous, gorgeous colours in there. There's gold, silver and bronze. Lovely. And being Casbah, it's got a little bit of cashmere in it, like 10% cashmere, 20% nylon and 70 merino, I think. It's gorgeous, and I've had a few problems with that design. It's a very simple idea, and the execution of it wasn't quite as simple. There's no point me talking about it. I can talk about it another time. Back to the hexa hat. I got really, really cross with myself because having done this picking up method to keep the nice clean line there such a long time ago, I'd completely forgotten how to do it. I had to figure it out all over again. I messed it up twice. I was hungry and I was in a hurry because I wanted to start filming, and I really buggered it up. I got really, really angry with it. I got hangry, but I've sort of managed to unpick it. What I'm doing is I put the cable of the needle along the edge there, and with a tapestry needle I sew into every stitch that I want around. So I'm basically just wrapping the yarn around the needle. Now the first time I did it here, I did it around the needle itself, not the cable. So I moved the needle along so I'd get the right width. This is a 4mm cable, a 4mm needle. Oh, 4.5mm needle. So I went around every time making sure I had enough give in each stitch, but it looked really baggy and looked like holes. So I spent a long time getting the tapestry needle and literally easing every stitch through, tightening up each one all the way along the line, and there's over 130 of them, all the way along the line to get rid of the spare yarn at the end. Now that took a long time, I didn't enjoy it. So today I thought, well, I won't be quite so loose with it. So I didn't wrap it around the needle, I just wrapped it around the cable. Then when I went to try and knitting the stitches from it, I couldn't get the damn things on the needle. The cable was fine, and then everything got stuck. So I had to, I took the tip off. Thankfully these are interchangeables. I used Chowgoo interchangeables, the red, they're called the twist. Pulled this one off, put a very, very small needle on one side, and was able to knit with the bigger needle on the other end from the smaller needle and get everything pushed off. Knitted the whole row and realised I'd started at the wrong end. And it meant that the yarn I needed to work with next was at the other end. I'd gone to this end, and the brown was over here. I was like, oh, that's stupid. So I undid all of that and started again, and then realised instead of picking up pearls and then knits, I was picking up knits and then pearls. I was like, oh, so I have to undo that again. Third time lucky. Gorgeous. And this green is really, really beautiful. It's like a rich lawn green with some sort of flecks of yellow and darker blues in there to give it a real depth. It's very, very lovely indeed. And this is knit with the Barocco worsted? Not sure. It's the Ultra Alpaca from Barocco, and it is classed as, it doesn't really say, it's 215 yards per 198 metres, and there's 100 grams in each ball. Made in Peru, superfine alpaca, 50% and 50% Peruvian wool. So I reckon that's kind of a DK, slight veering towards worsted weight. But I'm really, as I said, thoroughly enjoying knitting it. Now basically, I haven't got a lot else to say. I'm not doing a grammar round today, and I'm not doing a what's tat. I'm sorry about that. I did want to do some community stuff, but I haven't really prepped it. No one's put any questions in my podcast questions thread that I could answer here, so please do. If there's anything you want to know about me or my knitting, please do ask questions. I'm not easily offended, and I'll just decide whether I want to answer it or not. But there's a couple of things I do want to mention, community-wise. some podcasts that I've been listening to lately and watching lately. I started dipping into Knit British, which is an audio podcast. I've only just started that, but it's Louise Scollay who was instrumental in getting me up to the Podcasters Lounge at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival earlier this year. She hosts the Knit British podcast. It's available on iTunes, and it's basically she only knits with British yarns, either dyed, spun, milled, grown here. It has to be something of that. Not quite sure what her actual mantra is, but she's very delightful. She's Scottish, so has a lovely Scottish lilting accent, which is charming to hear. So that's lots of fun. I also want to give a shout out to John Glenn again, Beardy Cheel. I haven't yet caught up with your second episode, but I know that things seem to be going very well for you, and I've had good feedback from other people about you. So if people want to chat or knit along in the company of John, again from Scotland, it's all about Scottish ones, then he's Beardy Cheel on YouTube. And also, now this is a personal shout out to Katie Lavelli of Inside Number 23. I've been watching your podcast for a while, and I haven't got in touch, and I feel bad about that. I don't know if you watch this podcast, you may not even know who I am, but we have so much in common from our history of musical theatre, and we've got mutual friends from our acting lives. I can't believe we don't know each other in the real world. So I'm extending an invitation to you to become my friend, please. I thoroughly enjoy watching Katie. If you don't watch Katie already, then please do. She's a knitter, but she's also a keen sewer as well, and her sewistry is rather fine. She makes a lot of her own clothes, and is very, very good at everything's beautifully finished, and really, really very, very proficient with a sewing machine and a needle and thread. And I really enjoy hearing Katie going on. I think there's something about her that reminds me a lot of many of the people I know from my acting world, and it's nice to have those things coinciding and coming together in one person. So Katie, I'm going to get in touch, and I really hope that I'd love to meet up at some point and we can chat nitty actor things. On? Deal. Who else did I want to talk about? Well, Eric, of course, Eric Lutz from Sticks Plus Twine, who is with Devon from the Handmade and Woolen podcast, is releasing the new knitting magazine for men called Rib, for men and for people who knit for them, focusing on male-oriented designs, which is going to be a really, really welcome addition to the newsstands out there. I can't tell you how excited I am about this magazine. I think it's about the time, if you'll pardon the language. So going back now, stepping back to the day I went up to visit Dan and Kay on the way up to our holiday. Of course, on my last podcast episode, I had said that I couldn't think of any heterosexual male knitting podcast, apart from because I was talking about John from Beardy Cheel. And of course, Instagram went mad. What about Dan? What about Dan? And I filmed a little response. Earlier today, I may have said that I couldn't think off the top of my head of any heterosexual male knitting podcasters. Well, I've come all the way to Darlington, to the Bakery Bear's house, and I still can't find any. And Dan has filmed a response, and Kay and Dan have very, very charmingly and amusingly been ribbing me about that on their own podcast since then. I'm just going to set the record straight. I make no apology for this. What I had intended to convey was I couldn't think of any solo British male heterosexual knitting podcasters. Now that's quite niche. Dan, of course, is very much part of a very successful and very lovely duo. And to have picked Dan out would have been to completely ignore Kay, and I couldn't possibly do that. Certainly not after she's been so lovely, although this was before, in fairness, but we know how lovely Kay is. I couldn't possibly have done it. So I didn't include Dan. And then I had a bit of a brain fart anyway, and couldn't think of anyone at all, and that's why Devon popped into my head. because Devon is also, of course, part of a podcasting duo. Dan, you know you have all of my heart. You carry it with you wherever you go. And to everybody else, some people, it seems, got quite cross with me. I'm not interested in people getting quite cross. Oh, here's the thing. Let's talk about that for a second before we wrap up. The other this all leads on. The other podcaster that I wanted to talk about is Shannon Fisher, who is the Socks Etc. Podcast. Now, she and I didn't know each other at all and were paired up in a Christmas in July podcaster swap that was organised by some lovely people on Ravelry, and hundreds of podcasters, I didn't realise there were so many, all were contacted to see if we wanted to be involved. I said yes, absolutely. And we had to knit a Christmas decoration, a handmade Christmas decoration, and send some chocolate and some mini skeins and a message. And I was paired with Shannon, who is Shannon Fisher, but she on Ravelry, which is Shannon Mariah on Instagram, and she's the Socks Etc. podcast. She's quite new to podcasting, and recently she was talking about, on Instagram, she was mentioning how she had a mass exodus of YouTube subscribers, and she puts it down to the fact that she was talking about racism on her last podcast. Well, bravo, Shannon. Bravo to you for facing up to things that people find a little bit contentious. There should be nothing contentious about denigrating racists and racism in general, and suggesting that people might want to be a little bit more evolved and a little bit more enlightened. And if people want to stop watching my podcast because of me agreeing with you, then please, by all means, you're not the type of people that I really particularly want to have watching me if you subscribe to racist ideals. You know this about me. I'm very straightforward, straight talking, and it just struck me that. It struck me that a lot of people are very, very concerned about not offending anybody on YouTube, because they have this sort of. We all have a need for followers. Well, I have a need for the right type of followers. I don't mind what the numbers are, as long as it's people who are interested in what I have to say and who are interested in me as a person. If I've got something that people can benefit from hearing, then I'm very delighted. But also, if I can teach people stuff, and I'm not suggesting that I'm the world's most enlightened, evolved human being on the planet. I'm not saying that at all, but I think for Shannon to suspect that so many people left for something that I would consider to be ordinary and human, good Lord, well, Shannon, it's best that they left. So this sort of goes on to, I get a regular array of thumbs down on YouTube whenever I post an episode. It seems to be that there are more thumbs down whenever I talk about my wedding to another man, my life with another man, and me as a gay person. Gay, thumbs down all you like, I don't care. It does seem that I get quite a lot of thumbs down for that sort of content. Well, do you know what? I've said it before. Eric has picked up on this as well. My podcast, my rules. If you're here, it's because you're the kind of person who I would like to get along with, and if you're leaving, it's because you're not. And that is absolutely fine. There's my rant. It wasn't a grammar rant, but it was a proper rant. So I'm now going to wrap this up because I have to get off. I have to get changed, pack up the room, and get ready for dinner with my friend tonight. I hope to see you in another couple of weeks. Before I go, of course, Ben is just about to start rehearsals for this month's epic theatrical production, which is of course Brass. The National Youth Music Theatre are performing his show once again. They did it in 2014, they're doing it at the end of this month at the Hackney Empire Theatre in East London. It's going to be performed on Friday the 26th and twice on Saturday the 27th of August. Tickets are really selling well. If you like theatre, if you like musical theatre, if you like traditional, well-crafted, epic, beautiful, melodic, heartbreaking, soaring musical theatre, then this is the show for you. You must not miss it. putting all the details on screen now about where you can buy your tickets. They're not expensive. It's a youth theatre production, but don't forget this. A lot of people might get put off by thinking, oh, I don't like kids on stage. They're not kids. These are all between the ages of 16 and 24, and all of them are playing the right age for the characters that they're playing. They are the age those people would have been. So it doesn't feel like a youth theatre production. They're also damned talented, and it's a huge cast. It's over 30, and over 30 in the band as well. So, or just about 30 in the band. You don't get a chance to see musical theatre on that kind of scale in London very often. It's a beautiful, brilliant show. If you want to check out a little bit of the music, head on YouTube. Just search Billy Whistle, Brass, Benjamin Till, and you'll find 2 films that Ben filmed. I've shown sneaky peeks of them on here before, but you can watch them at your leisure, and if you like what you hear, the rest of the show is just as good. So please come along. There are, as I say, a few tickets left. It's a big theatre there's quite a lot of seats to sell, but it has been selling really, really well, so I don't want you to miss out. I'll be there, all 3 performances, so if you are coming, please let me know, send me a private message and tell me that you're going to be there, and I can't wait to see you. So now, oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on in the street outside my house. It's the usual thing. Somebody doesn't like the fact that someone has stopped at the lights. Well, there you go, that's life in the millennium. And, in this millennium. And, what I was going to say, yes, so now this podcast episode is officially a finished object. But just remember, life is a work in progress. Just take it one stitch at a time. I'll see you next time, hopefully before Brass has been up and running. If not, I'll tell you all about it. Bye-bye.